welcome back, drifters. Today's a new day, and if you can't tell, we're in the Dubya today. That's because I'm actually going to be working on this thing today. I've had a lot of problems with the front end of this car, with understeer and just general driving. Like right now, it is really rough. The front suspension is so loose right now that it's just ridiculous. I think it's my ball joints. What was that? I don't know if you can hear the noise that this thing's making outside of the nasty exhaust. Listen. Kind of hear it a little bit. Yeah, the front end on this thing is just not doing so hot. So the front suspension is so loose that it's ridiculous. I think it's the ball joints and the control arm bushings. But what we're gonna end up doing today is gonna be an E46 front end swap. So basically we're just swapping out the lower control arms from an E46 as well as the inner tie rods from an E90. So we'll see how it works. I'm sure it's gonna be a problem here and there because evidently the sway bar mounts a little bit differently. So we may have to cross that bridge when we get to it. But the main issue is I just want to get rid of this dang understeer that we got. I mean, it just feels like when you go around a corner and anytime you like give it, and I'm talking like going hard, it just feels like you turn one way and the car wants to go another. So we're gonna hopefully tighten all that up here today. We'll see what we can do with the little bit of daylight we got left. But yeah, I guess all we gotta do now is get started, so let's do it. Well, that's not exactly ideal, but I guess that's what happens when your coilovers give out mid-drift. Yeah, not fun. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and remove these control arms, the old ones that are all banged up. But I gotta give a shout out to Condor Speed Shop. Now, I'm not sponsored by these guys, but I gotta give them a shout out. So when I first went to go remove this thing, I had a huge issue where I had got the wrong eyelets. I got 23 millimeters, and it didn't fit the new lower control arms. I'll show you here. Well, I managed to get one side off. As you can see here, this thing is beyond gone. Big problem is that thing's got to be replaced, but an even bigger problem is that this thing doesn't fit. So this is the wrong size. This is a 21 mil, and this is for a 23. Even though this is the Melly, whatever, lower control arm, it's actually a 21 mil. So I got to get a part for that. But Condor Speed Shop was so awesome. Like, I ordered these parts almost 2 years ago, and I just now discovered that they didn't fit. I emailed them, was like, hey, I get it, you know, if you can't, whatever, I just want to see about getting it exchanged. And they were super helpful. They responded quickly and they decided to exchange it. And I mean, it was just so awesome that they were actually willing to do that. I mean, it was 2 years ago. They really didn't have to, and it was just awesome dealing with them. So if you're looking at doing this swap, I highly recommend going through Condor Speed Shop. I'm not sponsored, I'm not paid, they're just a good company. Again, if you guys are looking for the E46 swap, go ahead, give them a call, shoot them an email. They're the guys you want to talk to about getting the parts. But without further ado, let's get started actually tearing this thing apart. So first things first, we just had to take out the old E36 lower control arm, which was pretty simple, just a bunch of wrenches and ball joints and swinging a hammer and going crazy and busting knuckles. Eventually we got it out. Okay, so quick update. I've been working on doing this swap, and it looks like I got the HD E46 lower control arms, and they are not fitting. They literally rub on the rotor. Let me show you what I mean. So what's happening is it's rubbing right in there because this thing is way fatter than it should be. So I guess in the meantime, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do because I already put on one of the eyeball things at the end, and now it's stuck on a thing that's not gonna fit, so.
Yeah, you didn't just like barely put it on, you like slam that thing on. You had to use the rubber mallet, or it's back there. But yeah, this is on there pretty good.
So I'm not quite sure exactly what we're gonna do, but for right now, I just gotta get this thing slapped back together because I can't keep it on jacks. So it's unfortunate, this is the second time I'm gonna be doing this. Oh boy.
Brainstorming time.
So I think I came up with a solution to my problem. When in doubt, grind it out. Alright, so I guess now it's just time to go attempt this for the third time on this install. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it'll fit. If it doesn't, I'm gonna grind it a little bit more, and we're gonna make this thing fit, because remember, when in doubt, grind it out. Well, here we go, attempt number 3. Let's get it. thing comes off way easier the third time you do it.
All right, so let's see if we actually got this thing to fit. Should be pretty close. Oh, there it is. Okay, it looks good. I think I can turn this all the way around without it rubbing. So that should be good. So now you can see there's definitely space between where the brake rotor is and where this is. There should be enough space to make this work. So this thing's just hanging in there. We can turn it all the way around, and it's not rubbing there, and it's not hitting the rotor. So I'm gonna take this off and show you just how much of this I had to actually shave off. So now you get a better idea of just how much of this I had to take out. You can see I got it pretty thin in some areas. I obviously didn't do it perfectly even, but this works. So it's not as much as you would think. It is a good amount, but it's not as much as you would think, so this should still be okay. So I guess now all I gotta do is pop this sucker in there, so let's do it.
Okay, so one quick tip if you're going to be doing this is you may have to boom the suspension out of the way so that way you can get an Allen key on top of the ball joint, because otherwise this thing's just going to spin and spin and spin. It's a pain in the butt. It took me a while to figure out it was even spinning. That's why I was over here wrenching it for so long. Trust me, you don't want to do this. My arm is extremely tired. But eventually I managed to figure it out, put an Allen key in there, and tighten that sucker right up. Until I discovered this.
Well, I ran into another issue. This piece here is not lining up. I didn't push it on all the way, so now I gotta go and redo that. Crap. Alright, so I finally got this thing on here right. Let me show you what I did to get it to fit, because man, it was a pain in the butt. So originally I was just banging this thing out with a rubber mallet, and that wasn't cutting it. So what I did was I took one of my welding gloves, and I've obviously done some damage to it, pretty much ripped a hole in it, but I wanted to kind of protect it, and then I put a 35mm socket on top, and then just went to town with the sledgehammer, and just pop, 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 until it went on. Luckily I got it. It's about this far into the hole, so you might be able to see there. But the thing is, don't do like I did and forget to check before you start bolting it up. So I put this hole in, and then I measured to make sure this was gonna fit. So now I should be good, and then I should be able to get this thing installed. So we'll get there eventually. All right, so I managed to get it on there finally. This thing took me way longer than what I expected, but it's on there. So you can see that we got it all the way on there. It's bolted up and it fits in all the corners. And yeah, so we still need to get under here and do the inner and outer tie rod so we can connect that sucker up. But for the most part, that's pretty good for this side. So obviously this thing took me way longer than I planned, and I have a lot more to do, but I'm probably gonna have to get it done tomorrow because it's starting to get dark out and I am frankly exhausted. It's been about 105 out today and I am just cooked. So I'm gonna finish this up and then we'll go and move on to doing the next thing.
So I ended up staying up a little bit later just to get the tie rods on. Yeah, I couldn't leave it alone. It was driving me insane. Damn OCD.
So now we're at attempt I don't even know, and we're just gonna give it a go. So let's do it. All right, so I got this thing fitted pretty well, but now we're gonna take the little eyeball thing. Basically, you just have to look at this on the inside. It's got a little groove. So if you look at this, you'll see that there's a little groove in there on one side, and it's like this on the other side. There's like a little gap. So you have to figure out which side is for the driver and which one's for the other one. But once you figure that out, you'll notice that also there's this little like recess in here, which is where it's gonna mount up in there. So it only goes on the car one way. So luckily mine's gonna go on the driver's side just like this. So we're gonna hammer the hex through here and then just kind of go to town until we get it on there. I'm gonna start it with a rubber mallet and probably finish it with a regular one, but I don't care about the paint, so let's get to it.
So as far as removing the inner and outer tie rods, it's pretty simple. I use an adjustable wrench because I didn't have wrenches that fit properly. And there's a spot on the inner tie rod that you can attach to in order to hold it still so it doesn't spin. I think it's a 13mm, and then you just use an adjusty wrench on the tie rod itself. But then when it comes time to do the inner tie rod, you got to use a special tool for it. But most of the time you can just loan one from a parts store.
All right, so now I'm at the point where I got to go ahead and put in the inner tie rods. Now these are different than a regular E36 ones. These are from an E90. So that's I think like 2004 to like 2012 or somewhere around there. Just basically look up like a 330i, and that's basically where this comes from. But yeah, just you're looking for E90, E91, one of those series. That's because it's a little bit longer. Let me show you what the E36 is in comparison. So you can see from looking at this just how much longer the E90 is, and that's what you're gonna need to be able to reach that gap. So yeah, all I gotta do now is get the tie rods in there and tighten everything up. So let's do it.
So installing the new tie rods, you just basically use the special tool to get the inner tie rod on. I put the nut in all the way so that way I could have it threaded on, and then you got to put this compression sleeve in. It's concave on one side, and that side goes towards where the outer tie rod goes in. And you just basically tighten it on and get it as close as you can for your tie rods. It's kind of a guessing game here. I tried to get it in as tight as I could because I was having a lot of toe out. All right, so we got this thing on the ground. Basically, it's looking pretty good, but my toe is completely out of whack. So I gotta do like a ghetto alignment, which I'm gonna use toe plates, but I'm gonna have to wait till tomorrow because yet again, it's late. So if you're ever wondering why I don't do these things every day, this is why. I got delay after delay after delay, but it's all right because we're gonna get this thing done eventually, probably tomorrow. So I'll see you then. Oh, holy crap, who's this dude with the glasses? Okay, so I figured out the problem with the toe out issue. So this is the old E36 inner tie rod, and it was too short. So when we go to put the exterior tie rod on, it's just not gonna reach far enough. So the problem is when we put the E90 on, it's reaching too much, and we're basically going toe out way too much on both sides. So what I'm gonna have to do is shorten them. And by shorten them, I mean I'm gonna take a cutoff wheel, cut them down, grind them out, and hopefully we'll still be able to get some threads on there. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna try to shorten this as best I can, and we'll see if it works. So wish me luck. So if you were to look here, you'd see that this piece here would match in here like this, and it's too short. So when we go to try to make this reach, we're not gonna be able to get nearly enough threads in there. So that's why we gotta do the E90, but the E90 is a little too long. So we're gonna cut off about an inch or so of this off. Now there is no exact science to what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to get it close to what I think is gonna be good. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we can do this without any major issues, but we'll see. Nope. I'm gonna have to grind that flat so that way we can actually get the threads on and off, but we'll see how that does. Just gonna file this back a little bit, make sure it's nice and no real sharp edges. We'll see if we can get a thread on there without it screwing up too much. Hopefully we'll be able to, we'll see. See if we can even thread this off. That'll be a good indicator. Oh yeah, it's threading right off, cool. Perfect, so that should work. So just to give you an idea how much I took off, it's about that much. So a little bit over an inch. Oh yeah, we're threading right on. Beautiful. There we go, that's a little better. Just to get an idea of where it's gonna set. That's what we'll do. We'll leave that there and check the other side. All right, here we go. So we cut off about the same on that one. Not bad. We'll see if that fixes the problem. Cool, we got it on there. So now I just gotta tighten this sucker up and we'll see if we got it close. That's better. That actually might be towed in a little bit. So, cool. All right, so this side's good. I'm gonna double check the other side. We'll put the tires on and do some checks with the toe plates and see just how far we are. Make a couple of adjustments and then we should be close enough to get this thing back on the ground. So I call that a win. I spent the entire rest of this night just trying to get the toe right. It was a pain in the neck and I don't think I got it anywhere close. I guess that's what happens when you're working on cars. It always takes longer than you expect. All right, so basically I figured out what is going on with this thing. The inner tie rods, no matter what, I cut them short. I made the tie rods fit. It took me forever to get the adjustment because I want about an eighth of toe out, eighth inch of toe out. And it was just a pain trying to get it right. I ended up having to remove those little collars that lock the E36 tie rods in. It was just pushing too far out. And this was the only way I could actually get close to that. And of course I'm using toe plates. It's not the best way to do it, but for right now it's just to get me down the road. Eventually I'll get alignment. But when I go to get actual modded knuckles, I'll switch back to the E36 inners because then it'll actually fit. So if you're doing this, just know if you have modded knuckles, use the E36 inners. Otherwise, if you're using the stock ones, you need the E90s. But just be aware you may have to get rid of that little lock collar. Hold on to it later because new tie rods don't usually come with that. So just FYI. So you can see what I mean. I've got that thing pretty much maxed out. And that was just to get it close enough to where I didn't have too much toe out. So just be aware of that. So now let me show you how I got the sway bar to work on this thing. So what we're doing for the sway bar is we're gonna take this, flip it to the other side, and drill a hole right down here. Normally there's a hole already there, but for some reason this side didn't, the other side did. So I'm just gonna drill a hole that fits that bolt. Aiming for this first rib right here, and I'm just gonna try to go in deep so that way it's not too close to the edge.
Oop, there we go. It's close. I need to open it up a little bit. There we go. There it goes. Cool. Alright, now we just gotta tighten that sucker up and we should be good. One thing to remember about the sway bar end links is at the very end you gotta use 2 wrenches to hold it because there's a little flat spot, otherwise it's just gonna spin. It's kind of like a ball joint. That ought to be good. Cool. Now we got a sway bar on there too. So now you can see what it looks like when it's in there. It's all attached, good to go. So yeah, it just basically swivels this to the opposite side. So now we got a sway bar too. Okay, so we ran into another issue and it turns out that the coilovers have completely failed me. Those cheap Amazon ones that I got about a year ago, they didn't hold up. And it was basically rubbing, and now we ran into an issue. We tried putting on a different set of tires and it's not fitting. So if there's anybody out there that works at BC Racing, please hit me up in the DM. I've got a business email, something. I use your coils already on my other vehicle. I'm willing to pay, but if you can give me a discount even, that'd be great. I could do a full write-up on it. But other than that, I can't do anything until I get some new coils because it's just rubbing beyond all belief. So I don't know if I'm gonna have to put this out before or after. We'll see. It's just unfortunate because I really want to give you guys a road test, but it is what it is. Just wait till we get out of this.
The front bumper, Kyle. God. You're not used to driving lowered vehicles.
What do you mean? I am. This thing's always been this low.
You just slam.
the
No wonder the front bumper doesn't fit perfect.
That's not the problem. The problem is...
Oh, the god-awful rubbing.
So I guess you're gonna have to just overlook the fact that this thing's rubbing like crazy, but we had to at least take it for a drive.
Yeah, like we... Oh, that doesn't
just
sound
cutting
good.
The tire. That's not good. Well, it feels tighter. That's for
It
sure.
looks really good. It's just, I think you need some smaller...
Dude, we're not going very far.
We gotta turn around.
I need coils. Oh, dude, that's so bad. Oh my god.
I'm not even like trying to overreact. That's just bad.
I'm not even gonna make this turn. It's gonna be like a 40-point turn. Oh my god.
What happened to the headlight switch?
Don't worry about that. I'm fixing that. I have a new one.
Alright, when the weight's going to the back, it's fine. It's when you shift, watch, you'll hear it.
So right now we got all the weight. Oh, there it is. Every time the weight shifts forward, we have like no traction up front. Well, we have traction, but no. Yeah. Oh, problem's gone.
Just
we
keep
gotta
going
stay
gas.
in the gas.
Oh, the noise changed. Did you hear that?
I felt it. Oh, that is so bad.
There's gonna be rubber on the fender.
BC, could you please call us?
We need help.
Oh my god.
Oh man, I was looking forward to a test drive.
I really wanted to actually test this, but that's too much. We need to take a look at the tires. Yeah, look, you can see the tire. Look, that's all tire from right there.
Was it this far out before?
No. That's all bent out.
I can't even get my finger in there.
There's rubber in there.
Oh, look at the tire. You can see it.
Yeah, that's bad.
I think that could.
Oh, that thing could seriously have... We didn't even go that far. Ouch.
I can't even get a...
Yeah.
Damn, son. I don't even think I can get a business card in there.
Yeah,
Here, take this. That's what she said. A standard business card.
That's some good fitment right there. So if any of you guys work at BC Racing, hit us up. But otherwise, that's all I got for you. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like the video. If you didn't, dislike it. And I'll see you in the next one. But just remember,
keep it nice and easy.
There you go. So you might be asking yourself, there's no way in hell this guy's about to fix his car with a Coke Zero, is he? You damn straight I am.